care of us.
We're live. Holy crap, you guys, we're live. So this is my daughter, and I'm gonna move you real fast. Oh man, I'm gonna move you up here. So today we launched Power Llama. We've got the Llama in studio with us, with the M2s attached. They're replicas, so don't worry about the guns, they're gonna be fine. We launched our exclusive coffee club or exclusive coffee subscription. It's a live animal, so it might not cooperate. The ECS, so we launched Power Llama today. Unfortunately, Power Llama is sold out, so we're going to run through the Power Llama, how to brew it, and we're going to talk about Mac V, which is next, and maybe, yeah, good, okay. So the unboxing, the box looks like this. I'm going to set my daughter off camera. Black box, exclusive coffee club subscription, seal, Power Llama, comes in our new bag. He's fine, so if you want to take care of him, he's good. New bag, zipper top. Yeah, we're fine. If you want to take care of him, it looks like he might be getting a little bit nervous. So, zips off. This is a red honey processed coffee from Peru. That's why we chose the Llama. Take care of the kids, Mike. Thanks. Your brew instructions come with this. Your sticker comes with this. Bag, sticker, exclusive coffee club. Today we're going to go through the Aeropress, and we can go ahead and decant it. We're good. He's fine.
In the film any longer?
He's fine. Yeah, we're good. Yeah. We're good. So you've got your brew instructions. We're going to go through. Today we're going to go through the Aeropress. We've got our mugs, the Power Llama mugs. We've got our red honey processed Peruvian Arabica coffee. And what I like to do, and what I've done for years, is I work pour over and Aeropress on a regular basis. So I do that typically during the weeks. I'm drinking pour over and espresso because the espresso machine here. When I'm hunting or I'm out in the backcountry, I'll use our collapsible pour over or I'll use our Aeropress. I've been using an Aeropress literally since probably 2004. I took it on a large number of my trips from Afghanistan, Iraq, Israel, Jordan, Kuwait, Southeast Asia. I carried this thing everywhere. It was part of my kit for several years, still is. So I carry it in an ammo can. We're actually coming out with a carry kit for the Aeropress or pour over device. So you'll be able to put all this stuff in one kit and then take it with you anywhere you go. So unfortunately we're sold out of Power Llama, which is good for us, kind of bad for you guys in a way, but next month we're launching Mac V, which is the Tiger Stripe camouflage bag with the Mac V logo in the center. So you've got to go over to the ECS, you've got to register for the product, you got to just type in your email. You guys are the first ones that get notification for the new ECS. The reason why we have super limited runs where these are micro lot coffees, so typically we only get a few hundred pounds of this. We roast it here in Salt Lake, and then we put it out to our distribution centers for it to go out to you. So it's literally been roasted as fresh as we can roast it, send it straight out to you. Mac V is going to be a great coffee. That's going to be a Vietnamese. We've been roasting and trying and cupping that coffee for the last few days, so that'll be ready for next month. We're going to go through the brewing instructions on the back of the card, and we're going to talk about the Aeropress today. Outside of the fact that I've been carrying this thing for, well over a decade, the reason that I've been carrying it, it's lightweight, makes a great cup of coffee. You can modulate how strong or how weak the coffee is, just like anything. You're just monitoring your coffee to water ratios. So whether you're doing a pour over or a French press, any brew device that you have, all you have to do is fluctuate your grind, your water to coffee ratio, and you can make it as strong or as weak as you want. I have my suggested brew instructions here, and because we had our live animal in studio earlier, I pre-ground some of this, so it smells incredible. If you guys want to check out Red Honey Process, what it means to be a Red Honey Process coffee, you can go over to Coffee or Die. That's our blog. We did a fairly extensive series on red honey processing. So you can learn more about what that means, why does micro lot matter, why is this a great coffee. And what I say is, it is a great coffee just on pure grade, but it's a lot different from the other coffees, so you'll be able to explore flavor and profile. Just like we do here at Black Rifle, you'll explore flavor and profile with us and a lot of these new micro lot coffees. So without further ado, calls for 25 grams of coffee. I'm gonna try to, and you can use your scooper, I guess. Let's use our scooper. 17. $25 on the nose. What I like is I like to do this. This is called inverted. It's an inverted method. I like to have it steep for a while. So I'm going to pull the plunger out to 4 and pull out my Bonavita kettle here. And what we discovered was what we like to do is heat this up to above 200. Our suggested temperature right here is what do we got right here? 203. What I say is anything above 200, you got to get it there. If you don't have your thermometer, take it up to boil, let it sit for a couple minutes, depending on what you're boiling it in, and it'll come back down to about 200. We're going to add 50 grams of water. We're going to stir. We're going to let it bloom for 30 seconds. So as we're waiting here, I can set my timer on my scale. So all this stuff that you see here, we've got the Bonavita gooseneck kettle, our scale, the Sahario scale, all this stuff you can purchase at Black Rifle Coffee. You can grab anything that we've got here today at Black Rifle Coffee. So we're at 30. We're going to go ahead and add, we're going to go ahead and add another 200. Take it up to 200. There it is. And then we're going to let it sit. So we're going to let this steep. So we're going to stir again. Your total brew time is going to sit at 3 minutes from the time that you start your timer. So we're going to let it sit for another 2 minutes. We've got our paper filters over here. I like the paper filters in the Aeropress. You can use the steel filter. It's reusable, but the reason I like the paper is because, and I pre-wet it too, it's because it has the finest filtration and it gets a cleaner cup of coffee. You're making it. I'm going to pop that on. We're going to sit and wait for another minute and a half while this is steeping and press the air out of it. And the Aeropress, so when we look at the Aeropress, what comes with it? Comes with paper filters, the canister itself, the plunger, the top. You get this funnel for your cup. For a long time I didn't use this. I started using it probably 3 years ago, and just to be quite honest, I didn't know. I didn't even know what it was for initially because I'm not good at reading directions. So after I started using it, my life got a little bit better, but you can use it with or without. It's not a big deal. I used it for several years. You've got everything that you need inside the Aeropress kit to brew a cup of coffee outside of your kettle. So if you've got a jet boil, you're doing something in the field, you'll be able to bring something to a boil. If you got your pot on your stove, I use this at home, I use it in the office, I use it in the field, I use it just about anywhere. I've never had, the only reason I would have a bad cup of coffee through an Aeropress is because the coffee's bad. It's not because of the device, if that makes sense. All right, we are at 3. So we're gonna flip this over. You've got your plunger, and all you do is just push it down. Apply a little bit of pressure, not too much. All right, now let's take a look. Let's see how it looks. So there's 2 methods here. You can drink this. Can you guys see it? This is mine. Up, 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 up. Oh, okay. So this is my cup. It's the perfect coffee cup. We made this with a local potter, so she's awesome. She's been with us for several years. I went kind of to the design board to try to make what I felt was the perfect cup, and really what this is for the perfect pour over. It holds about 480 grams of coffee, yielded coffee. So on a 16:1 ratio, water to coffee ratio. Most of our coffees, that's what our suggested water to coffee ratio is. And I wanted something that was lighter in color so I could see the edge of the coffee to see how dark it was. I wanted something that would hold exactly the perfect amount as far as being able to drink through it. It doesn't get too hot, doesn't get too cold. It's got a single wall ceramic line. It's got a little thumbprint on the top. It holds 3 fingers. It's perfect. So you can drink this Aeropress just the way it is without adding water. And that's an incredible cup of coffee. You can also, if that's too strong, you can start adding coffee to it, or you can start adding water to it. So just add a little bit of coffee or a little bit of water. And either way, I like my coffee really strong, so I don't need to add a lot of water, nor would I suggest adding water to it because it's an incredible cup of coffee. All right, so that's the Power Llama. We've got our brewing instructions. You've got your box, your bag. You get a sticker with the exclusive coffee subscription, or the ECS as we call it around here. If you join the ECS, every month we launch these micro lot. And when I say micro lot, they're really only a few hundred pounds of this stuff. We select it, we hand select it here, we cup it through several different people. So myself, Matt Leviner, Edwin Parnell, everybody in the coffee lab goes through this, go through them multiple times, we roast multiple different variations. We give the thumbs up on what we feel is the perfect cup of coffee. The reason that it's more expensive is the green itself is more expensive. So these coffees are 2x, 3x, 4x sometimes what our normal coffee, our green coffees cost. They're really limited in runs. We can't get a lot of it. And that's why they cost a little bit more. But we really wanted to be able to bring you guys something incredible as far as being able to expand what we're doing here as far as incorporating you guys into this entire process of roasting, exploring profiles in coffee, pulling from different countries, matching them with our great design studio, which is Gary Stevens, myself, Matt Best. We're designing these bags specifically for the region. That's why with next month with Mac B, I'll put this up here. This one is a Vietnamese coffee. it's going to go really, really fast. And the way that we built this out is if you go to the ECS, you register your email for the product, you guys will be the first one to know. So this morning, we sent out the email for everybody that registered for the product a good 3 hours before anybody knew about the product. So before we launched it on social media, before we put it out via email. So you really have to get out there, you've got to register for the product. The Mac V is going to go fast. We don't have a lot of it, so I would highly recommend you get in, sign up for the product, and we'll take care of you. We'll make sure that we roast enough for everybody that signs up in the email, for sure. And that's a great cup of coffee. So I'm looking forward to the Mac V blend. And what that is, it's an homage to the Studies and Observation Group, or the Special Operations Units that were working inside Vietnam from the beginning of the Vietnam War to include the French occupation to they're the last ones out. So first ones in, last ones out. It was it was more of a JSOC model, so we had multiple different branches of service that were serving within this. It was run by the CIA. I think it's a culmination of a lot of different things within Black Rifle Coffee, because we've got veterans from every service in Black Rifle Coffee, and we've got a lot of people from the Black Rifle Coffee that served in both the CIA, Special Operations. It's a really historical piece that we're really proud of. The coffee itself is going to be amazing. We're also going to do a piece on going to Vietnam next year. So we're going to go to Vietnam. We're going to do another piece of content around the selection of the coffee. We're also going to take some Vietnam veterans with us. We're going to do some tours of battlefields. We're going to talk about the Vietnam War, and this is just the beginning of kind of the historical confluence of both coffee, the history of Black Rifle Coffee, and our products. So I'm stoked for it. I'm really sorry if you didn't get any of the Power Llama, because it's an incredible coffee. It's absolutely incredible. But we'll have a little bit more of the Mac V next month. We'll try to get these in stock and available so everybody can get them. Around the Mac V stuff, we've got some hoodies, some hats that we're launching too. So I typically don't take this hat off very often. So we've got hats, we've got hoodies. We're also launching outside of the Aeropress that we just used. They came out with what's called the Aeropress Go. It's a brand new product. It's shorter. It's a little bit lighter. It has everything in one package. So you can throw it in your kit, get out into the field, make coffee in something that's a little bit smaller, easy to carry. It's an awesome piece of gear. I saw it at Outdoor Retailer this year. So myself and Logan Stark were out in Denver at the Outdoor Retailer, stopped by the Aeropress booth, and I saw the prototype version, and Bert, the guy that's actually running our camera right here for our live feed, I think I texted you that day. And I was like, you gotta order these, man, because I've been waiting for this product for years, like literally years. I've tried to trim this thing down, try to make the weight as light as I can, strip out all the excess BS so I could just save on space, essentially, space and weight. So to reiterate on Power Llama, our suggested brew method is going to be the Aeropress we sell at blackriflecoffee.com. You can also run this in pour over. So we've got a combination of Chemexes out here in Black Rifle Coffee. We've got, is this the 6? Yeah, so this is the 6. We've got the 2, 3. Sorry, this seems like one cup of coffee to me, but that's where I get a little bit confused. I think they're actually doing just cups. So 3, and then this is 10. So this would be just what I would consider my morning Chemex right here. This is 2 cups of coffee for me. This is about 1 cup of coffee for me. This is about a half a cup of coffee. But we've got a full line of Chemex pour overs. You can put any of our coffees through the pour overs, put any of our coffees through the Aeropress. You can put any device through our American, or you can put any coffee through our American press. We're going to highlight for next month in Mac V, we're going to be highlighting the French press, and normally That's a cuss word for me, French, anything but. Because of the history of Vietnam and the French occupation of Vietnam prior to the war, we felt it was only appropriate that we highlight how to brew the MACV blend or the MACV roast in the French press. We only thought that was appropriate. So all the stuff that you see here, so grinder, Chemexes, scales, hats, anything, not my daughter's sweatshirt, but anything you guys see up here, we sell at Black Rifle Coffee, to include the Aeropress has an additional add-on, which is made by Fellow, which just incorporates more pressure so you can get more of an espresso out of it. I've used it both ways. I like both cups of coffee. They vary in very specific ways. It's a little bit stronger if you're pushing it through this, a little bit weaker, but you can vary that with your coffee to water ratio as well. So all this stuff is available at Black Rifle. Tune in next month for MACV-SOG. Make sure that you register your email for the product, because you'll be the first people to get the drop notice. You get the first notice. All right. So what else do we got, guys? Do we have any questions so far?
Yeah. What grind setting do you put the grinder on?
This grinder, so what I tell people is your grinders are going to vary, right? One is if you have a blade grinder, and you'll see it because if you open up the top and you look in on your grinder, it's going to have two blades that are going to spin around. That's an inferior grind because it's really hard to get a consistent granularity with a blade grinder because it just chops the coffee, right? So you need a burr grinder. And now what you can do is you can set the space in your burrs, and you can go coarse if you're doing French press, and you can tighten it up if you're doing espresso. What I say is it's really coarse. It looks like pepper it's like a pepper shaker. For a French press, even a little bit bigger, really fine, almost not quite at baby powder almost for espresso, but it gets really close it's in between baby powder and table salt. So if you're looking at between pepper and salt, put it in between for pour over, and that'll be great for your Aeropress as well. What else you got?
When is the Aeropress Go available?
December.
Okay, so December, the Aeropress Go, it will be available at blackriflecoffee.com. So it'll make a great Christmas present. I know I'm the first person in the company to get one, so
Pre-register.
yeah, you got to pre-register for that product too.
Will any of the blends, such as Flying Elk or Power Llama, be coming back?
Well, that's kind of a debate that we have, which is because we can only get so much of that coffee, we're going to go back to the growers and see how much of that coffee we can get for next year. But it won't be back for several months, I would imagine, because we're going to have to try to get more, and that'll be a problem. It will. So when we have the ability to bring a roast back, for instance, Flying Elk or Power Llama or MACV, we'll bring it back based on popular demand. We're going to build in a page so you can pre-register for those products as well, so we might be able to drop those in the future if we can get the coffees. Or we'll change it and bring it back next year as a little bit different of a coffee variant.
What makes the ECS exclusive and so special, especially being that it's more expensive than other coffee?
So what makes the ECS exclusive is these are really micro lot coffees. So there's only a few hundred pounds of these. We don't have the ability to incorporate these into our standard club. They take much longer to find, so sourcing them is more difficult. They're more expensive, so the green itself is more expensive. So our green that we purchase is a high quality and what we call a superior coffee compared to the rest of the coffee industry. These are even more exclusive. So they're more exclusive, they're more expensive, 3 to 5 times more expensive than our standard green coffee. They take longer for us to develop the roast, so we have to go through more coffee in order to develop the roast. And when you join the exclusive coffee club, that means you kind of taken that step. It's only available and whole bean. We're not going to grind it because that takes away from the freshness and the experience. The exclusiveness of the club comes from the exclusiveness of the coffee itself. The coffee is super exclusive. It's really small. We can't get a lot of it, and it's more expensive. So there's not a lot, and it's more expensive. So when we say there's not a lot and it's more expensive green, that means that we have to increase the price a little bit for coffee club members. But it's still, any of these coffees green and roasted, I've checked against other micro lot roasters. These are selling for sometimes $50 a bag for a 12-ounce bag. We're still the best priced coffee, whether it's for an exclusive premium micro lot coffee like these, or our other coffees are still less expensive than anybody is selling a micro lot coffee or a small batch premium coffee.
If I'm signed up for the ECS subscription, does that mean I'll get all of the blends each month?
Correct.
How does the subscription work?
If you're signed up for the ECS, all that's going to happen is you're going to get the coffee of the month every month. So really you could call it the exclusive coffee subscription or monthly subscription, meaning automatically bills. It's automatically billed every month. You got to call in to cancel your subscription too, which is also the difference. Because we spent a lot of time really curating and developing these. These are such a unique coffee that we really have to focus on keeping the longevity of our customers, because that's how we're making it profitable, is that people continue to come back and stay in the club. On your first club order, it's not about profit for us, it's just about really getting you guys an incredible cup of coffee.
Cool. Will the ECS products be available at dealer or retail locations?
No. The only way you can get an ECS coffee right now is by joining the ECS Coffee Club. And when I say that, it's the exclusive coffee subscription. The only way you can get it is by joining the subscription. The only other way, and it's kind of a hack, is if you come to Salt Lake, we've got a few bags sitting on the counter and you can ask for Power Llama. I think we actually still have a couple bags of Flying Elk back there. If you come to our Salt Lake City retail location, you can ask for a cup of Power Llama.
When are the new Chemexes releasing, and when will the hand grinder be back in stock?
Ooh, that's a good question. So when is the Chemex and the hand grinder, when are these going to be available?
First week in December.
These are going to be available first week in December. Hand grinders are going to be available
3 weeks.
3 weeks. We'll have the hand grinders available. So once again, go register your email for that product. You'll be the first one to be notified when it's back in stock.
And is the MacV hoodie currently available?
Is the MacV hoodie currently available? Nope. It's only available to me right now. No, it's available. The MacV hoodie will be available on November 21st. So once again, it's kind of the same consistent standard. Go register for the product. You'll be the first one to be notified.
Who creates the names of the coffee and what's the meaning behind them?
Myself and Matt Best, for the most part, we create the names of all the coffees. Gary Stevens obviously plugs in too. Not obviously, but Power Llama was originally drawn. I started drawing it. Matt and I beat it back and forth. We talked to Warm Fuzzy. So the other thing that we did was we talked to Warm Fuzzy because he was doing a lot of Power Llama stuff. And Matt over there, he's a good friend of ours. So if you like llama gear and you're looking for additional llama gear, go over to Warm Fuzzy, because the guy he's got some incredible designs. So we developed the Power Llama through just a drawing, and what I was trying to do was match something for a Peruvian coffee that also was branded Black Rifle. So a llama with 250 cals on it just seemed like, yeah, that's obviously Black Rifle. So I would say that I was probably a 70% initiative on that, and then Matt and Gary, obviously, they rounded the corner on the rest of the design work.
When can we get that hat?
This hat goes live November 14th. This one's, so the story behind this hat was Brian Brian came in, he was wearing it. Brian runs our print shop and sew shop. He came in, he was wearing it, and I stole it off his head, and I've been wearing it ever since. We're different variations of it. So this has been my favorite hat. What are we calling this one?
Keystone hat.
The Keystone. The Keystone hat. I just call it my hat. What else we got? What other questions we got? Come on. Feed me. Is that it?
That's it.
Awesome, guys. So,
Oh, if you're buying coffee grounds, do you put it in the fridge or the freezer?
Nah.
Or store them.
fridge or freezer, freezer is always going to be better than the refrigerator. So it's kind of a myth out there that freezer is bad for it. Freezer's not necessarily bad for it. It will prolong the life of the coffee, and then it falls off a cliff essentially. Once you take it out of the freezer, if you leave it out for a shorter amount of time, it'll just fall off a cliff. And the reason for that is freezer takes away the moisture in the coffee, but it will prolong the taste of the coffee. So if you have a couple extra bags, throw them in the freezer. Don't throw them in the refrigerator.
Is Llama going to be available on ground?
Nope. Power Llama is not available in ground. So it's only, the ECS is only a whole bean coffee. You got to grind it. This is for coffee heads. So the expectation is that you're going to be grinding coffee and making it in the morning. I don't pre-grind these premium micro lots because when you pre-grind coffee, it takes away from the freshness of the coffee, and that's one of the reasons why I really try to just focus, and the only reason that I try to focus on this being a whole bean coffee is I want to make sure that people have the best experience possible with their coffee.
Does the Aeropress Go use the same filters as the Aeropress?
Correct. Yeah, the Aeropress Go does use the same paper filter as the standard Aeropress. So straight up, same, all the way around.
And are you dropping the holiday roast, and when are you dropping it?
The holiday roast is the best of in December. So is that right? Yeah. So the holiday roast is going to be the best of. What's up? Battery's dead. Great. Battery's dead. Okay. So we're still here on Instagram. So we dropped off on Facebook. Battery's dead, but the holiday roast will go live in December, and that's also in our Buy a Bag, Give a Bag initiative. So during the month of